Hi everyone, this is Matthew Cruz, and I'll be presenting to you the August 2020 supply demand report that came out this morning at 11 a.m. Jumping right in, uh, big news, what people were looking for was the yield updates in both the corn and soybeans. The yield came out, USDA increased their yield to 181.8. The average trade was looking for 180.4, and that's up from 178.5. So a pretty good boost. It was towards the higher end of what the trade was looking for. In beans, that was a big surprise as well. It increased that 53.3, up from last month at 49.8, and it was very close to the high end of the trade. So um, I would call that, of course, fairly bearish news for the beans, but the market actually didn't take it that way. So we're currently up 7 in the beans right now. We'll talk a little bit why that is going on. Looking at last year's grain ending stocks, you can see they reduced that from last month by 20 million bushels. Came in a little less, about 40 million less than what the average trade was looking for. That kind of helped take off some of the increase in yield that the USDA is looking for next year. Help take off some of those ending stocks. And then soybean production still pretty close to what it was last month at this time. Looking to 2020, 2021, the demand has been, corn demand has been doing very well. That helped offset that increase in that corn. So the USDA came in at 2.756. So it was actually slightly below what the average trade was looking for, but higher than where we're at last month at this time. So ending stocks essentially are still growing, but not quite as much as what people were expecting. So I guess that's a little bit of good news. More bad news in the beans at the ending stocks, coming in at 610 million bushels. That's a pretty big jump from what people were expecting, closer to this 517, and quite a bit more than where we were at last month at this time. So last year was at the 615, so really haven't been able to get rid of any soybeans. Looking at world supply and demand, Brazil soybeans still at this 126 million metric tons. That's probably not going to change too much. Last year, you can see 119. Brazilian corn yield, they're about done with the harvest there now. USDA's kept that at 101 million metric tons. I've seen a lot of analysts that expect that to be 5 to 6 million metric tons higher than that. But the USDA is more conservative. They kept it at that 101. And you can see Argentina soybeans came in at 49.7 and corn at 50. So no major surprises there. You really have to follow this through to the global ending stocks. A lot of times we get so focused on what the U.S. production is doing. We have to look at worldwide what's going on. And so you can see not too much change here. This is the last year's ending stocks at 311, soybeans at 95.9. So they actually reduced. That's maybe a little bit why the beans are up 7 right now, despite a big increase in yield, is just because there's the world is still able to consume a lot of those beans, and so inventories actually came in less than what they were expecting. This is 2021 global ending stocks. Similar situation in the beans. Average trade was looking at 98.6, and they came in at 95.4. And so I think that's probably what potentially could have helped provide a boost in the bean market today. And then corn, similar situation. It came in a little bit less than what the average trade was looking for, despite higher U.S. production. This is the corn balance sheet. Kind of gives you a different picture here, a little bit more details. You can see that the increased yield expectation 3.3 bushels from last month's 178.5. They decreased 20 million bushels ending stocks from last season. This 278 million represents this increase in production just from the boost in yield here of 3.3. However, we offset that a little bit by increasing feed and residual and also increasing exports. So they're a little bit more bullish exports. So that's good. That helps us get rid of some of this increase in productivity. Between that feeding the corn to cattle and increased exports, we got rid of 150 million of that 278 million increase. So we still end up with 108 million bushels more. Add that on to last month's estimate, you get this 2.756 million bushel number. So a lot of corn here in the United States. Looking at the U.S. soybean, similar situation where you have a big jump in yield here, 3.5 bushels. That increases the production to 290 by 290 million bushels. They offset a lot of that from the increase in exports. So they're expecting more sales to China, expecting those to increase. Crushings also, domestic crushings also increased 20 million bushels, so that helped. But still, we added 185 million bushels to this to last month's 425, giving us this 610 million bushels. Looking at the wheat, they increased the yield 0.4 of a bushel to this 50.1. They decreased imports by 10 million. Exports, they increased by 25 million, so that was good. That helped offset some of those ending stocks. That's why we end up lower 17 million bushels from this 942 to 925 million bushels. This is the December corn chart. No surprises here. You can see we're moving lower. You can see there's a wide trading range today. The market was going into the market, into the report, excuse me. It was trading down to the 320 area. I think most people were expecting worse news, but we had a pretty good jump today. We're right now trading about 325. We need to start get any upward momentum. We ideally need to break above this 340 area to kind of break this downtrend. But it's, unless something changes, we'll kind of see us bouncing around between this 320 to 340 area here in the short term. Looking at the beans had a good day despite not overly bullish report. They're up 7 right now at this point in time. You kind of see they bounced off this trend line that seems to be forming here. Hopefully we can push our way higher, get back above this $9. I like to see us get back to this 9-10 area. Looking at the wheat, you can see that wheat's given up a lot of ground here in the last couple of weeks, trading down around this $5 area in December wheat. It looks like at the moment it's just a bear pause, and the market still wants to maybe go back and retest those June, July lows here around this 480 area. So if you're a bull, you might want to point out the Derecho weather event that happened this week. Supposedly, millions of acres were affected. A lot of corn. You see in a lot of the pictures, a lot of the corn was flattened and damaged. We're still uncertain how much of that, how big of an area that is. One source that we followed said that is roughly 8 million acres in the Midwest that's been affected. Other people have said it's 8 million acres just in the state of Iowa alone. So we're really not sure what the end effect of this is going to be, but it's certainly not good for production. But I think it's going to affect the corn a lot more. Some of the soybeans that have gotten flattened out, I've heard, have bounced back, and so it's probably more of a problem for the corn at this point. If you're a bear, you're going to continue to talk about how coronavirus is slowing consumption. talk about how China has been slow at buying and making good on their phase one agreements. And Brazil is next year is looking to increase their productivity in their production area, and so they're looking to increase their production every year. That's all I have for you now. Thank you for watching. As if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at 712-227-1110. Thank you.